The higher your emotional intelligence competencies, the higher your capacity to sell. And the lower your emotional intelligence competencies, the lower your capacity to sell. Again, emotions drive people and people drive sales performance. Welcome to today's episode. Today, I want to talk to you about something very exciting, which is money. However, what brings money to your table, which is sales. Obviously, without selling, we can't make money. Selling is that activity that we carry out where value is exchanged for money, which is another value anyway. So if you're a salesperson, customer-facing person, somebody who is responsible for going to exchange your company's value for money, then this is very important for you. And if you want to increase your sales as a leader in the organization or any other person, this is an important episode for you. I'll be taking two important discourses from our regular 2 days advanced emotional intelligence sales program. In this sales program, we identify individuals' sales competencies, and we also identify the emotional intelligence competencies that are associated with those sales competencies. I hope you know that there are critical sales competencies that will help salespeople grow, and there are emotional intelligence competencies that are associated with those competencies, to the extent that if your emotional intelligence is low, then your sales result will be low. And if your emotional intelligence is high, your sales result will be high, because each sales competency has embedded emotional intelligence competencies in them. Out of our 8 sales competencies, I'll be picking 2 for this particular episode. I'll be taking one that is associated with short sales cycle, and the second one would be associated with long sales cycle. So whether your product is a short sales cycle product or a long sales cycle product, you would have a takeaway from this episode. And generally, as a salesperson, whether it is long or short sales cycle, these 2 competencies will be very important. So let's talk about these 2 out of our 8 sales competence. The first one would be deploying initiative. Deploying initiative. Now, deploying initiative is that skill of a salesperson that helps them drive action. When you are driven to take action, especially critical success-based actions in sales, then you are deploying initiative. It is important for me to quickly say it here. You can be deploying initiative in other areas of your life, but when it comes to sales, you might not be deploying initiative. A salesperson can be very good with product knowledge. It means that they understand the product so well. They know the features of the product. They know the advantages of the product. They know the benefits of the product. And with all of that, they can defend the product or service so well. And when it comes to managing objections, they know all the associated objections to their products to the extent that they can manage any objection that is coming. However, that person might not be achieving sales targets and be selling suboptimally. Why would somebody know a product so much and the person can defend the product with a lot of knowledge, and yet the person is not successful when it comes to sales? I'm sure you've met people like that. One of the possible cause could be that this person lacks the ability to deploy initiative, which means driven to take critical success-based sales actions. There are 3 critical emotional intelligence competencies that are associated with the capacity to be driven to take action when it comes to selling. And the first one is intrinsic motivation. Engaging intrinsic motivation is that skill to be driven from within rather than from the outside. A salesperson that is highly driven by their own personal values, beliefs, and commitment will be more driven to take sales-based actions as compared to somebody who is driven by external forces and activities. Will mean to be driven by pay and pegs and commission and a tap in the back and recognition. All of those are very good, but if that's the only thing driving a salesperson, then their capacity to be driven to take action will be low, especially when those external factors are not available. But someone who is driven from within by their own values and beliefs and commitment would not crack, would not break, even when there is no encouragement from the outside, because they are selling from their own personal preferences. A great salesperson uses that emotional intelligence competency called intrinsic motivation. They engage it on a daily basis. You see them wake up with a good plan for the week, and then they take the action that are necessary to achieve their sales. If a salesperson is taking action because you threaten them or because you encourage them before they are taking the action, that's a sign of a salesperson who is not deploying initiative, because they are acting based on your own encouragement. You have to do something about that salesperson. And if you are the salesperson that is constantly driven by encouragement and the tap in the back and recognition before you gain your momentum to go and sell, then you're not deploying initiative. Your sales results will be very low. You need to grow your emotional intelligence competencies. And the best way to grow your intrinsic motivation would be that you go and sit and ask yourself, beyond a tap in the back, beyond recognition, beyond pay and pegs, what is driving me to sell? If you cannot find what is driving you from within to be a salesperson, I'm sorry, you're going to crack every now and then. You cannot be a successful salesperson if all that is driving you to take actions are from the outside of you. But if you can develop reasons, beliefs, values, commitment to be a great salesperson from within, you would always achieve results. Another emotional intelligence competence that helps salespeople to be driven to take sales action would be navigate emotions. Navigate emotions. And that is the capacity to tap into the emotion and harness it for the next sales action that they're going to take. Now, in the sales process, there are several points where a salesperson can find him or herself stuck in unpleasant emotions. And that could be from the lead management. It could be from prospecting. It could be that the salesperson didn't give a good presentation and then they are stuck in anger, or they are stuck in sadness, or they are stuck in irritation because the client wasted their time and after that meeting nothing came out of it, or they are stuck in frustration. As a salesperson, when you are stuck in certain emotions in the moment, or you're stuck in an emotional state with a particular client, meaning that every time you think of that client, you feel irritated and you are not able to navigate that emotion, then you will lose the capacity to drive yourself for action, which is deploying initiative. You would be stuck. You would take actions that are related to being stuck. You would refuse to go for an important meeting with a particular client. You will refuse to place a particular call. You will have a list of sales calls to make, and because you are not happy with the organization, you will look at the list like this and you're not making the necessary calls. I don't know how it happens to you, but when a salesperson is stuck in a particular emotion and that is not good enough for driving an action, then they will not make sales. It means that they don't have the capacity to navigate emotion. So how do you increase that capacity to navigate emotion? First of all, understand that when an emotion is not helping you to take the action that is required for sales, I'm not talking about the actions of the client that is frustrating you. I'm not talking about the behavior of the client that is making you irritated. I am saying that when you find yourself in an emotional state that discourages you from taking a particular sales action, that stops you from making a prospective call and going for a meeting and making a presentation, then you need to tell yourself that instead of this emotion that I am feeling, there's another emotion or there's another action I can take to help my sales activity. And so to navigate emotion is to be able to take another action instead of the action that your emotion is saying you should take. Emotion drives, emotions don't reason. An emotionally intelligent salesperson will pick themselves up irrespective of the emotion they are feeling about their boss, about the office, about their colleagues, about somebody who has treated them. Irrespective of what emotion they are feeling, when you are emotionally intelligent, you will be able to pick yourself up and take the necessary sales action, and then you would have deployed initiative. The third emotional intelligence competency that is required for driving initiative and taking sales action would be exercising optimism. Exercising optimism. I mean, every salesperson should be deploying sales from an optimistic perspective, which means that even before the sales happen, you are taking a proactive perspective of hope and possibilities. It means that you are taking a proactive perspective of the fact that you will make that sale, you will meet that target, you will smash that sales record. That proactive sense of hope and possibility will pick you up every day, and then you will take the necessary action. So the more you navigate your emotions, the more you deploy your intrinsic motivation, and the more you deploy your optimism, the more you will be able to take the necessary sales action that would help you deploy all your sales initiative. So these 3 emotional intelligence competencies are associated with that sales competency that is called deploying initiative. So the more you grow these emotional intelligence competencies, the more you'll be able to deploy these sales competencies, and then you'll be able to increase your sales. That is for the short sales cycle. However, it can be used because whether it is a short sales cycle or a long sales cycle, everybody needs to deploy initiative. If you want to know the sales competencies in which you're strong in and the ones that you're not very strong in, then you can send a mail to the email on the video. If you want to deploy our advanced emotional intelligence sales program, where all your salespeople are able to identify their sales competencies and identify the emotional intelligence competencies associated with it and begin to grow those competencies to increase their sales, also send a mail to the email on the screen. The second sales competency I want to share with you today would be